I was studying civil engineering. Then I saw a video about making a character in Blender. I started gaining thousands of followers a day. Don't know how this happened. I think the other skill is pretty much required. It took me 3 years to get at a decent level without a mentor. With a mentor, I think I could get at a decent level within 1 year. Then I realized, so hey, I can make a business out of it. I am now making a living using his workflow from just blockouts.
What makes someone walk away from engineering school to chase a career in art? For George Zaky, that decision kicked off a journey from civil engineering student to 3D character artist, building a business around stylized character blockouts and doing what he loves. Welcome to the Mo Method, where we talk to creators who have turned their passions into professions. Today, I'm joined by George Zaky, a 3D character artist who found his niche in low poly blockouts and has since grown it into a thriving business selling digital products. He breaks down the mindset shift that helped him grow online, how mentorship shaped his career, and why simpler models are often more powerful. And as a bonus for listeners of the show, George is offering a limited time 30% discount off his Gumroad and ArtStation stores. Just check the description below for the discount code, which is valid for the next 10 days.
My name is George Zaky. I'm from Egypt. I'm a character artist, a 3D character artist, especially for mobile games and 3D prints. I have my own business selling blockouts on ArtStation and Gumroad. I'm well known for my blockouts, especially anatomy blockouts. I actually, my main source of income is selling blockouts. I don't depend much on freelance and stuff, you know.
So most of your work is just from like your Gumroad and stuff?
Yeah, Gumroad and ArtStation mainly, yeah.
Nice. That's really cool. So how often are you putting out like new blockouts? Because you do it quite often. I always see you posting new things and new characters, new creatures, new body shapes. And how often are you putting out new ones?
I'm planning on working on one blockout a week these days. In the past, I think I was working daily. I was posting some of my work, not all of them. Actually, there is a lot in the trash bin right now. Like a lot.
That's how it goes, you know. For every one that we do publish, there's 100 that we don't. So how'd you get into it? How'd you get into character design?
I started 3D in 2017. It was actually it was by luck actually to know this field. I was searching. I was at first I was studying civil engineering. I was searching for CAD and stuff.
Yeah.
Then I saw a video about Blender. So what is that? It was a video about making a character in Blender. That's how I got into the industry.
Oh, cool. Blender's a little more exciting than the CAD softwares.
Yeah, agreed.
So were you in school for engineering and then you chose to switch and just focus on...
Wow. I switched after 3 years actually.
Wow. So you just gave up. You're like, I don't need to do engineering.
I decided it's not for me. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. How'd it go over? Because that's, you invested 3 years in the engineering track. That's not a small amount of time.
Yeah, agreed. So here in Egypt, usually people, they either go to medicine field or engineering field.
Okay.
They are the big stuff here in Egypt.
Yeah.
So my family decided I have to study civil engineering. Family here in Egypt is a bit restricted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd they take it when you said, I'm giving up engineering and I'm going for character design?
It was not good at all.
I can imagine.
But
I guess when they see now, they see how well you're doing with your career. They're like, maybe it wasn't such a bad idea. Yeah. So how'd you pivot from engineering school to character design? You mentioned right before we started recording that you studied with Shane Olson. So is he the first course you took in 3D character design?
No, actually. I started on YouTube, like
Okay.
all of the all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
First, I started to learn 3ds Max and Maya. They are in the industry standard, you know.
Yeah.
Then I decided I I it was 2017, so the UI of Maya and 3ds Max wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Blender was a bit easier for me to learn, and
Yeah.
it has a lot of free resources. So
Right.
I learned Blender first, then I switched to later to ZBrush and Substance. So I joined Shane Olson 3D character workshop of Shane Olson like 3 years ago, I think.
Oh, nice.
So it was after 3 years of starting the 3D field.
So, did you start studying 3D on YouTube and stuff? Were you doing that while you were still in school for engineering, or you totally dropped out of school and just spent full time studying on your own, 3ds Max and Maya and all the different softwares on YouTube?
I dropped I dropped engineering, I think, after a year and a half of
Uh-huh.
learning 3D.
Uh-huh.
So I was learning 3D for a year and a half. So then I decided to drop off civil engineering
Uh-huh.
and focus on 3D.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you working at all in that time? Like, were you doing any kind of freelance gigs for 3D, or you were just studying at that point?
I was just studying.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
Hmm.
So then you started learning with Shane after a little while of just doing your own.
Yeah, after 3 years. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Very
Actually,
cool.
Shane reached out to me
Oh,
first.
really?
Yeah, I was going live back
Mm-hmm.
in the past, blocking out characters, and Shane saw me on Facebook. I was going
Mm-hmm.
live only on Facebook. So he reached out to me because I was using his workflow, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
The- yeah, Shane is famous for his blockouts,
Right.
and so another one using his workflow but inside Blender. He
You
was
caught his
he was
attention.
trying, yeah, he was trying to teach Blender.
Mm-hmm.
I was going an interview with him. He interviewed me for his students, you
Uh-huh.
know, but it was awful. You know, when you meet Shane is like at this level, and
Right.
I'm at this level.
Right.
To make this jump, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. How was it once you started learning with him? Was it a big adjustment?
Excuse me
Was it
again?
was it a hard adjustment to kind of make that jump?
Yeah. Very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's a great guy. He's a great teacher also. Definitely, you can't go wrong. Were you always focused on characters, or did you try other things also? Did you try environments or props or anything else, or was it just characters? That's
I
what you
tried
were.
props at first. Yeah. At first, I was learning modeling in
Hmm.
general, so I model a lot of props, environment. Then I give my focus on characters because I found them interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So how long have you been working on in 3D? Like at this point, how many years has it been?
How many years? I think 8 years.
Wow,
Eight since 2007. Yeah,
wow,
8 years, I think.
wow. Well, that's really cool. So I'm kind of curious to hear about your workflow and your business because it's a really cool thing you have. For those who aren't familiar, you do a lot of stylized character blockouts, right? I guess that's kind of how
Yeah,
you call it. And so you do a lot of people, but also you do kind of creatures. You do kind of a little bit of everything. Kind of it's a
yeah.
little bit of anything you can want to make it stylized. You seem
Anything
to have a
anatomy, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Stylized anatomy in general, yeah.
Yeah, I love your stylized anatomy, the stylized accroché you have, where it's
Mm.
the skeleton and then the muscles, but it's stylized. It's excellent. I gotta say, I really like that a lot.
Thanks,
I used it
thanks.
at one point. I was looking for a reference, and I had it, and this is already probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago, because it's so well done. It's clean and like easy to understand, and it looks really good too.
A lot of people are reaching me to thank me for this. At first I didn't think I will get this so much attention, you
Yeah.
know. for my work. Then I realized, so hey, I can make a business out of it.
Yeah.
So that's
So
when I
that's your full
yeah
time gig.
yeah.
Wow, that's incredible that you're able to do that. Like that's really cool.
Hmm.
And so people take your blockouts and then they kind of use it as the base to then go and build their characters off of.
Yeah.
Do you do any professional gigs? Do you ever work for, let's say, a studio to do work for them, or you're kind of just doing your own things? That's enough that you don't need to go and work for other studios, let's say.
I actually got a couple of gigs here for Egyptian studios,
Uh
but
huh.
they didn't pay well, so
Uh huh.
I decided I will not take this job, you know.
Yeah.
I can get, I think, double the amount or even much more than that from my
Wow.
my blockouts. So
Uh huh.
why do I
Right.
want to take this job? Yeah.
Right. So what is it about blockouts that you enjoy so much? Is like when I look at your work, it's that's your whole Instagram, your whole portfolio is mostly your
Yeah, it's
blockouts.
blockouts, yeah. I
Do you
think
ever do?
there is a couple of characters, you know.
Yeah, I was
My
gonna say, I've seen,
latest,
there are a
my
couple of
latest,
characters, but
yeah,
so do you do characters at all, or it's kind of
yeah,
very
yeah.
very minimum?
I do work, I do characters, but it's very minimum. Yeah.
Uh-huh. You put all your
Uh,
focus really in the
mm-hmm.
business of selling the blockouts.
Yeah. But I want to focus on making characters. That's why I want to make maybe one blockout every week.
Hmm.
I will give all this time to studying making full characters. I
Uh-huh.
want to apply for studios abroad, so I want to have a portfolio, not
Right.
just blockouts. Yeah.
Right. But the blockouts is really that's kind of the hardest part. Like once you have the blockouts to go and make it into a character, that's the easy part. You got your work cut out for you.
Agreed. Planning
Yeah.
to convert some of my blockouts to full characters, so it won't take so long, I think.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Where do you like want to apply? Like what's kind of your dream studio?
I think Blizzard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love their art style, yeah.
they got really cool style. Really nice
Mm-hmm.
stylization.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Shane about we were talking about Overwatch at one point in our conversation. He's
Mm-hmm.
talking about how with Overwatch they have like a very specific style that you have to nail, and he's talking about something to do with like the bevels and how the bevels have to be just the right size, and like all these like tiny
Yeah.
details that everything has to be like just so
Mm-hmm.
to nail the style. But that's cool. Yeah, Blizzard is awesome. That'd be a cool studio to work for.
Mm-hmm.
What projects of Blizzard do you enjoy most? It's Overwatch and Diablo, World of
World
Warcraft.
of Warcraft, yeah.
Yeah. Is it still around? I know it was huge in like the early 2000s, but is it still around
I
now or not as much?
I don't think so. It's still around there, yeah, but it is very old, but the art style and the hand-painted style is very good in
Yeah,
this game.
I have a book here. Like it's the art of Blizzard because this their stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Their artwork is incredible. All their stuff, and it's so creative too. Like their stuff
Yeah.
really, like everything just has such creativity behind it, and it's amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how would you say that like your style has or your approach to sculpting, how has it changed over the years of doing it?
I was so at first I was digital sculpting, like I don't know how to block out at first.
Uh huh.
I was just pulling vertices and using Dynamesh or
Yeah.
voxel in Blender. Then it was a turning point when I saw Shane video on
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pixelogic channel. I saw Shane using his blockout approach. I decided to try it in Blender. That's when it's all all started, you know. I saw Shane. I decided to replicate his workflow inside Blender. Then I tried to learn ZBrush again in 2022, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
I dropped it really quickly because
Uh-huh.
of the UI again.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's definitely takes some
Mhm.
time to learn.
Yeah.
Was you gonna say? Sorry, I cut you off there.
Yeah, so I came back to ZBrush in 2013, and I decided, hey, I have to learn ZBrush. I want to have a market in ZBrush, you know. I
Mm.
have a market of blockouts in I have blend files in my product. I need to have ZTL files.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to learn ZBrush, not to use it as my main tool, but you know, I have to know both of these softwares.
Yeah.
ZBrush is amazing. It forces me to focus on sculpting, you know. Blender is a lot, as it's a hybrid workflow for me. I was
Mm.
going in edit mode, uh, editing polygons, then go to sculpt mode. ZBrush
Mm-hmm.
forces me to stay in this sculpt mode area, which is
Uh-huh.
amazing. Yeah.
Do you think that's better? The stay in the sculpt mode is better for your workflow?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
is
I
that?
learned I learned that in Blender too. I
Uh-huh.
was so ZBrush forces me to focus to stay on sculpt mode. So I switch it to Blender. Hey, I will not uh, change from sculpt mode to edit mode to edit my polygons, you know. I will just stay in sculpt mode using voxel and then remesher. There wasn't any good remesher back then in
Mm-hmm.
Blender, but I think the man behind the remesher made a remesher called Quad Remesher for Blender. It's an add-on, a
Mm-hmm.
paid add-on. I downloaded
Mm-hmm.
it, so it helped me with my workflow like a lot. I was using either manual retopology or editing, going into edit mode. Like I said, it was not really fast workflow. Then after downloading this add-on, I just pulling vertices using voxel or dynamesh or Dentopo in Blender, then remesh to go back. I think the one rule of thumb to make a clean blockout is to stay as low as possible. As
Right.
low po- yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super important. It's as a sculptor,
Stay low as long as possible.
right. Right. It's a hard thing because like you want to like start getting in like doing details and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
getting all to the nitty gritty, but the longer you could stay in the low polygon, the
The
better
cleaner.
off you'll be.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Cleaner mesh. It'll be easier to work with. Also, like once you start getting with really high density meshes and that are really messy and really noisy, it just gets very difficult to manage. Like you do yourself a big favor by staying simple. That's something that I was taught from early on and like learning is keep it as low as possible, as long as possible.
As
Like
long as possible, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like one method that I was like I was kind of taught early on, which I'm not like perfect with, but like I try to do it as much as I can. Is like in ZBrush is to literally start with like a cube that has no vertices whatsoever, just a totally simple cube, and go with like what's the brush? I'm totally drawing a blank on the name. The Z modeler.
Z modeler, yeah.
Yeah. And just like literally going as simple as possible, and then it's also with in ZBrush when you start using like dynamics, you use dynamic subdivisions, and there's so much you can do with dynamic subdivisions that you can
Yeah.
make something that's super simple, super low density, and then apply dynamic and add some thickness, add a little bit of this, make some tweaks, and all of a sudden you can get a really nice looking, really clean looking mesh. That's less than 100 polygons. You know what I'm saying? Like as opposed to, because I when I first started out, I also just went straight to Dynamesh and tried to just brute force everything, and then you end up with these things that are like millions of polygons. It doesn't look clean. Just like this noisy surface, and you're like, what did I do wrong?
Indeed, yeah.
That was definitely a learning experience. Yeah.
We all have been there,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how did you build it into a whole business? Because now you're saying you got this whole, online business with Gumroad and ArtStation, and you sell them. So how'd that happen? Also just naturally?
No, It's actually again a bit of luck, I think.
Uh-huh.
So I was going live on Facebook nearly daily, I think, blocking
Mm-hmm.
out characters. Then I decided to, hey, there is a website called Gumroad. I can put my work in there and people can pay whatever they want. I put my work there for free. Some of them, I think a lot of, I think 10 or 15 of my work are completely free. So I was surfing my phone. I saw a notification. Someone paid for my blockout.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, I can make much cleaner blockout and give a price for them.
Yeah.
That's when it started. Yeah.
Wow. And then
So
people
I
love it.
put yeah, I put some of my work for free so that people you know, they know the quality of my work, from
Right.
these free
Right.
blockouts. When I put some paid blockouts with much higher quality,
Yeah.
so they will pay for this quality.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Hmm.
my teacher had taught me at a early point that like the I don't want to say importance, but the advantage of like giving away um free resources, free sculpts and whatever,
Hmm.
and how it really does end up benefiting you. Like for example, one of his students, he made this really cool War Machine 3D model, and then I think it's a 3D print file also. It's really, really like really nice, really high detail. It's really cool. Um, and after he finished it, he put it online for free. Like anyone can go download it, and it got a lot of traction online. A lot of people downloaded it, loved it, and then from that piece, he ended up getting hired for the second Avengers movie. At the
Hmm.
end, there's like the model of all the Avengers. It's like this. There's like a statue of all the Avengers,
Yeah.
and so he was hired to sculpt that because of this piece that he put out for free, and because it
Yeah.
was put out for free, it got all this traction, and then his name got out there. And
Yeah.
it's I think it's hard as an artist to sometimes to put out your work for free because you're like, oh, but I want to get paid for my work. But in some ways, like you're doing yourself a bigger favor sometimes by giving stuff out for free than by not. Like I had this example recently.
Mhm.
I do a lot of my sculpts are Pokemon related. It's funny, like I'm not even like a huge Pokemon fan. I just love to sculpt Pokemon. Like I love the look of Pokemon. So I had made this I made this Pokemon headphone stand. It's like I'll show you right here on my desk. It's this Bulbasaur headphone stand that I made in ZBrush. And
Cool.
thanks.
Yeah.
And I posted it online like on Thingiverse for free, so anybody could download it and have it for their desk. And whatever, and I put on Thingiverse, and it got a few people commented they liked it, and and some people posted that they had printed it, and I was like, cool, and this is maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago that I had uploaded it, and then just recently, like 2 weeks ago, I saw this account on Instagram. His whole account is like 3D printing Pokemon. And
Mhm.
and so I'm like scrolling and I see like one of his videos and I'm like, wait a second, I recognize that one. And
Yeah.
so it was this, and then like it like blew up. Like as of right now, it has like 1.7 million views on Instagram. People were like, where can I get the file? And I was like, this is so cool. Maybe it wasn't such a bad idea after all.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like the whole online community it's cool that like that we have it because it's a fairly new resource that hasn't been around for a long time. So I'm curious, like what kind of advice would you give to people who are starting out and starting in 3D modeling and character design? What some advice would you give to a beginner?
I'll just say, I want them to take their time, to learn. It's not hard, but it's not easy also.
Yeah,
Also have a mentor. You should always have a mentor.
yeah,
I didn't have a mentor at first.
mm-hmm.
So it so that it took me 3 years to get to get at a decent level
Yeah.
without a mentor. With a
Yeah.
mentor, I think I could get at a decent level within 1 year instead of 3. You know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
your
So
mentor was Shane?
yeah.
Yeah.
Since actually I'm talking a lot about Shane. Again, he has a huge impact in my life. You know, I saw his workflow in ZBrush. I decided to replicate. I'm now making a living using his workflow from just blockouts. You know.
Yeah. He's
Hmm.
actually, he mentioned on the show that he is starting a mentorship program. So he had his course that,
Yeah.
that he's had for a while. And now he's starting like a specifically
Start
like a
an
mentorship
acceleration
program.
mentor program. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is
Hmm.
really cool. I mean,
Hmm.
it's not cheap. It's not crazy expensive for what it is, but it's a 1 year program, and I mean, and just the amount that you can learn from like that opportunity, and not
Yeah.
just it's not just about what you learn. It's about what you learn. It's about the feedback you get on your work, and it's also about the people that you meet through your mentors. Because your
Mm-hmm.
mentors
Yeah.
will
The
put you in front
feedback
of
and the
people
community. Yeah.
100%. That's
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
biggest. I think I was having this conversation with I think it was with Solomon Blair. He had said this that he highly recommends because I asked him about kind of because there are two types of people. The people who go to art school and kind of enter the industry that way, and then the people who do the YouTube and online route. And so I was asking him
Mm-hmm.
kind of his opinion on the two, and does he think that enrolling in an art school is worth it? And he was very much of the opinion that it is worth it. He said, and one of the things he was saying is that if for nothing else, just for the being in the environment around other people,
Yeah.
and the relationships you build, and also on top of that, he was also saying the fact that when you're with other people, everyone kind of pushes each other to be better, right? Because if I see that I'm doing this, and everybody else is 5 steps ahead of me, I'm going to work extra hard to catch up, and so
Agreed. Yeah.
yeah, that community aspect is so important to be successful, I think.
Yeah. Here in my town, I'm actually the only. I think the only 3D character artist here in my town.
Wow.
The people I know are like 100 kilometers away from me.
Is there much of an industry in Egypt?
Yeah. It's a bit small. You know.
Uh-huh.
Especially the game industry in Egypt. There is
Mm-hmm.
some VFX studios and stuff, but games and 3D prints, it's not so many now.
Uh-huh. So I want to
Mhm.
ask you about 3D printing because I'm big into 3D printing. So do you do a lot of 3D printing? Is that a big focus of yours?
I'm planning to buy a 3D printer and
Oh, nice.
and and expand my business in this field actually.
Uh-huh.
But it's on a plan,
Yeah.
my
What kind
plan.
of things do you want to do? Like how do you want to expand with 3D printing?
One, selling STL files mainly
Yeah.
and posting the characters I print.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Hmm.
So that wouldn't be so much blockouts, it would be more finished characters.
Finished characters and anatomy crochets,
Oh, cool.
creatures and different body types.
Cool. Would
Hmm.
you do stylized or would you do realistic?
Stylized, definitely.
Nice. Yeah. It looks really cool. Like I said before, your stylized crochet is very cool. And
Thanks.
it'd be cool to like have on a desk, to print it out and like I could definitely see that, being popular.
I'm
Yeah.
planning to give you a code for you, a code for my work discount for this when this episode came out,
Awesome. All right, cool.
especially for your
Thank you.
subscribers.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's awesome. So I have to add the link in the description.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I appreciate that a lot. That's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool what you're doing, and like I've seen other people who do blockouts, but I really the stylized way that you do it. Again, that Shane Olson sort of style that you have is very cool. That's really what caught my attention initially. And again, I probably found you. I don't even know how long ago. I've 4 or 5 years. Like I've been following you on Instagram for a long time,
Oh,
and because it's like it caught my attention from an early point. It's very very cool, and I love how in the like the images that you upload, how you have it all color coded. You do the poly groups, so it
yeah,
also makes it really
yeah,
easy. Like even if I'm just looking at it to try and like study and to understand stylized anatomy, like just from looking at your images, it's obviously not the same as getting the actual block out, but it really gives a really great like reference and like an understanding of, okay, like I understand the anatomy of of this stylized character.
yeah.
It's
When I was searching for character blockouts
mhm.
before starting this business, I wasn't get so many
Yeah,
results. I always got Shane Olson's work or his students.
yeah,
These are yeah, they were the only source of blockouts. These color coding blockouts.
yeah,
So
yeah,
hey, there is not so many anatomy blockouts using this technique. So I decided to go and try it myself.
yeah. No, that's great
So
because
there is not anatomy, so I will do it myself.
yeah, exactly. No, that's how that's why you have a successful business because you find something that it isn't there and you make it and people want it, obviously.
Mm.
And so it's people want it and you make it, so there's a business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shane told me once to find my niche. After a while, hey
Yeah.
Shane, I found my niche. Here
Yeah.
is the anatomy blockouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you want to do this forever, or do you eventually want to move away? Like you had said, you'd want to go kind of work for a Blizzard. Like, is that kind of where you see yourself going in the next few years of moving
Yeah.
away from this and kind of because in theory, if you stopped making more blockouts, you have so many out there that if you just kept the marketplace up, I'm sure they'd still keep selling you know for years and years. You
Yeah.
just go sit on the beach the rest of your life. So like, where do you kind of want to go in the next few years? What kind of your vision?
So upgrading and expanding my market in 3D prints mainly,
Yeah.
and making some characters for my portfolio
Hmm.
to apply for different studios. Blizzard, Droid Games, doesn't really matter as long as it is a stylized
Hmm.
uh, character art studio.
Yeah. 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 Do you
Yeah,
do you prefer to stay in the video game industry? That's kind of what you enjoy
yeah,
most?
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't really enjoy working. I know the workflow behind the VFX character,
Hmm.
for character for movies, but it's like it's taking forever for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, took a lot of time to make a cinematic looking character,
Uh-huh.
but a game character, it's kinda in a mid level.
Hmm. You think that's the case also for like animation, let's say, like to work in animation, you think it's the same thing, or you think it's because I think a lot of animation now is kind of using a similar sort of pipeline as video games. Like a lot of the newer animation that's coming out is using things like Unreal Engine. You kind of have this like blend of the game and movie industry, or not 100%, but there's more and more crossover, I think.
I think, yeah. So if I will be just a sculptor. It doesn't matter if it's for animation or games. But if
Yeah.
I'm doing the whole workflow, I would prefer going to games,
Uh-huh.
not animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you like to do the whole workflow, or you like to stick just to sculpting?
I would like to stick just in the
Hmm.
sculpting area.
Yeah.
But I think the other skill is pretty much required these days. They are not, especially here in Egypt, they are not hiring someone just to do just the sculpt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They are hiring a sculpt. You will do the sculpt, the retopology, the texturing, the shading.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's required here, so I have to learn it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Do you plan to stay in Egypt, or would you, in theory, move to another location if you got a job for a different studio?
If I got a job in a different studio, I will go there, you know.
Uh-huh. You're not
I'm
like
not.
you don't have to stay
No, no,
necessarily.
no, no.
Uh-huh. I'm curious, how was it? You grew up, I assume you born and raised in Egypt?
Yeah, yeah.
How was it there?
How can I say it again? It was a bit hard to
Uh-huh.
grow up in a country where is so I was born in 1997.
Okay.
So by the time I was 7 years old, there is no internet in my home, you know.
Uh-huh.
So it was a bit hard to, how can I say it? Know the outer world, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what's happening outside this city, this town,
Yeah.
where I'm in, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it wasn't very pleasant until I was 18.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have access to internet. I can search for whatever I want.
Yeah.
That's that's how I got in this industry, by using
Yeah.
internet. It's different nowadays, so internet is everywhere nowadays, but in my time, in the past, it was difficult to access
Yeah.
the internet in my town
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Uh-huh. So it was difficult because you're very isolated.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Are you in you're in Cairo?
No, in a governorate called Beni Suef.
Uh-huh. I just on your
It's
Earth Day
very
show you said.
isolated.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I have to ask because
Mhm.
like I feel like it's you have to ask if you're in Egypt. Have you ever been to the pyramids? It's like I'm sure you got that one
Actually,
before, but
no.
never?
Never.
How far are they from you?
Think 100 kilometers.
Oh wow, that's pretty
So
far.
I can saw them from, if I go to Cairo, I can saw them from my car, you know.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
never been there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Wow. Oh, yeah, if you grew up in Egypt, to not go to the pyramids,
I was watching Mr. Beast episodes.
Yeah, yeah. He
If
just
you watch it,
recently,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. I saw when he was recording. I saw people like I don't know, a few months ago. So he posted like, I can't believe that Mr. Beast rented out the pyramids. I didn't know that was
yeah,
possible.
yeah.
Yeah. So where is it, where you live? Like where is it located? Like what's it close to?
It's close to Cairo. The
Uh-huh.
100 kilometer. It's close to the capital. You know, it is not. It it is a small city,
Uh-huh.
Beni Suef, where I live. Yeah, I can show you.
100 kilometers. What's that? I don't know. Like I'm not so good with kilometers, but that's not. That seems pretty far. No.
Not so far. I think it is. Think it is 1 hour or 1 hour and a half with a
Oh,
car.
oh, that's not
It's
terrible.
not so far, you know.
Oh, that's very cool. I'd love to visit and see the pyramids. Like it's like everyone's got to do it
I'll
at least
go with
once.
you.
Yeah. have you have you ever played around with like traditional sculpting? Like you ever done anything with like clay, or you only stick to digital mostly?
No, I'm sticking to digital mostly.
Uh huh.
Haven't tried any traditional clay
Uh huh.
sculpting. No.
Did you always enjoy art? Like, did you do art when you were a kid? Did you doodle and color when you were a kid, or?
Yeah, I was drawing and I was drawing character, but it's like I stopped like 15 years ago.
Oh
So
wow.
I can't draw,
Uh-huh.
just doing kids
Yeah, yeah.
drawing, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
you've always been drawn to character design. It's always been like interesting to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's cool that you kind of like have been able to really
Yeah,
capitalize
turn
on
it.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would love to see like some of your like more of your finished characters, like I love your blockouts, but I'd love to see some of your see you turn some of those blockouts into like finished characters. It'd be really cool. I'm
Think
sure you got some.
think my latest one was Jinx. I posted
I saw that one.
in
Yeah.
yeah.
That was great. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that she got a lot of
it was actually a blockout at first, and again I
uh
decided to, hey, I will turn this blockout to a full character. Yeah.
uh Yeah, no, seems to be everyone seems to be sculpting Jinx right now.
Yeah, I actually started to get attention, so many attention, uh, when Arcane Season 1 came out.
Did you do
I
it
think
before or after?
after
Uh-huh.
I started to get this attention, I was sculpting daily sketches of arcane characters.
Okay.
I was posting them daily, I think. Then I posted a couple of blockouts. Then I started gaining like thousand of followers a day. I
Uh-huh.
think on Instagram. I don't think how this happened. I don't know how this happened.
What's overnight all
But
of a sudden you started getting
yeah, I
wow.
didn't know what was happening back there.
Yeah.
I I was surfing again on my Instagram. People were a notification appeared.
Yeah.
Someone started following you. Someone started. There's a bunch of
Just
them.
nonstop.
Yeah.
Which project was it that started that?
I'm just checking my
Yeah, no
Instagram.
worries.
I think the one before the female, my first female anatomy crochet,
Uh-huh.
the one that have Disney style
Uh-huh.
to it.
And
This
you were just posting a one blackout each day. Is that the idea?
no. I was posting, I think, a blockout each couple of days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But people just started to see them and
Yeah, I think the first one. I'm searching for it right now. How long ago? So the first project. Can I share my screen? Yeah, here it is.
so when
This
you posted
one.
that, that's the one that
Yeah, I think it has 20K
wow.
likes. It's like it's gone viral after the uh, the sketches of Arcane.
Yeah.
So this was the first one to go viral, Jinx by Chrissy
Uh-huh.
Zulu. Then I posted this one. It got 20K likes. So
All of a sudden it just went
yeah.
up from there.
Hmm. The
That's
next
crazy.
one got 28.
Yeah.
It started there.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I have it somewhere on my desktop here. I have screenshots of like your stylized anatomy of the head, the skull, and the muscles of the face. Because I was working on a
Hmm.
character, and I was like stylized characters. I really love stylized characters, but I always had a really hard time with them. So I was like trying to like figure out like stylized anatomy, like trying to get like a stylized character that like looked the way I wanted it to. And so I was using your a crochet as reference.
Glad it helps.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I don't know how well it came out, but maybe I'll stick to Pokemon for now.
I might switch to Pokemon,
Yeah. Have you thought about like doing other things other than the stylized anatomy, or you or like the stylized characters, or you found your niche and you're kind of happy to
No,
stick with it?
I tried the hand painted props
Uh-huh.
again, Warcraft, Blizzard style of hand
Yeah.
painted. I'm trying to apply to Blizzard
Yeah.
in this specific area. They had painted the characters, so I had to learn how to paint. So I tried a couple of props. I think a sword and a shield. I posted
Uh-huh.
them recently again, but I have to learn more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in
Mm,
general, hard surface stuff is I don't know if I'd say more difficult because I think it's just a different sort of like approach. But like I think organic is more natural. Like it's easier for us to just like
yeah.
get, especially because we're so used to it. We see people every day. Hard surface
Hmm.
things. We see them, but we don't necessarily understand them as well. So they're hard to make a hard surface thing that looks really good is not easy. It's you got to really know how to sell it because like
Yeah.
and there are people who are just hard surface modelers for that reason. Like that's their specialty. But
Hmm.
yeah, like I've tried hard surface and yeah, it's tricky. It's not simple. It's not an
Yeah,
easy.
the topology and booleans and how to deal with n-gons
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I've seen some really cool workflows of people who use live booleans for hard surface stuff, and they make it look so easy. And then you go and try and do it, and
Yeah.
you're like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, how'd they do this? Like you watch them doing it, like, oh my gosh, that's so simple. Like I could do that. And then you go and try it, and you're like, why does this look like it looks like Swiss cheese?
Think Paul Gadbury from
Yeah, yeah.
ZBrush. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
great. He's really good.
He's
He had
amazing.
a
Yeah.
he had a mentorship program. I did so he it was called Sculpt Corner, which he put on pause because he's got his hands full with ZBrush. But he had this mentorship course where he did two programs. The first one was hard surface, and the second one was 3D printing. So that's why I learned how to 3D print. Like I learned how to optimize my 3D models for printing. So it was all in ZBrush, and
Hmm.
then how to make ZBrush models for 3D printing. Um, but yeah, his first course, which I wasn't there for, I came for the second one. But the first one was called Cutting the Edge, and it was all about hard surface modeling and how to all the different ways of doing it. And if you know how to use ZModeler and live booleans and these different tricks, like it really can be done relatively easy, but you have to learn the workflow first. That's the hard part. Like
Yeah.
learning the workflow is
Yeah.
the hard part. Once you know it, then mastering it is I don't know if I'd say easy, but easier. But
Agreed. Yeah.
it's the figuring it out is the hard part. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it's no,
When I was watching Shane, he was blocking out a character in half an hour or in an hour.
yeah,
I was sculpting a full character in 3 or 4 hours. Shane
yeah,
was always saying it took me 1 hour or half an hour and 5 years of
right,
experience.
exactly.
This
Yeah, yeah,
amount of experience that matters.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I told the story before, but I'll tell it again. That one time, so growing up, we had this neighbor down the street from my parents' house, who was an Italian glassblower. He was from Murano, and like from a family of glassblowers, and so one time we were at his house, and he had this beautiful chandelier over his dining room table, and it was these like beautiful flowers and really really cool, and he had made it all himself. And so my brother-in-law said to him, how long did that take you to make? And he looks and he goes, 65 years or however old he was. And my brother was like, huh? He's like, you have to understand, like, it's not just about how much time it takes to make this piece. It's 65 years of mastering this craft,
Yeah.
and really learning the skills. And that's what it's not a matter of it takes 10 minutes, because those 10 minutes are years of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's very true because it's with anything. Like you watch people who are experts. When somebody's an expert, they make it look easy, and then you watch them do it again with the hard surface stuff. You watch
Yeah.
them do it, and you're like, oh, that's so easy, I could do it, and then you try, and you're like, no, I can't.
It's not for me, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I
that's the
I remember
the
I dropped 3D a lot when I start, you know. I start
yeah,
learning for a month.
yeah.
Then yeah, it's not for me. Then I'll give it another try.
Yeah,
I stopped for 3 months. Then I give it another try.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's definitely frustrating. Like learning is hard, but I found 3D to be easier to learn than 2D. Like I started off studying 2D, and for me, I found 3D was easier to learn than 2D because for me, like I don't know, just the way my brain works. I think like for me, like the all the stuff with like perspective and trying to get
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like I
I
found
got
that
oh. Mhm.
yeah, I found that much more difficult than just like taking something in 3D and sculpting with it. Like it was much more intuitive. It just made more sense. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that was my my experience. Well, I'm sure. Like, I have a friend who had the same teacher as me, and he's the exact opposite. He's like all 2D and like doesn't want to touch 3D. But, like you need both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask, how do you define success? What to you is the definition of success?
I think to for me is to be able to do what I love. This is a success for me.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, I'm talking about myself, but for me is working is fun because I like what I do, you know? This is a
Yeah.
success. This what success means for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, it's definitely worked out pretty well for you so far, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're doing something right. Yeah.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah. Well, where can everybody find you online? And if people want to look you up,
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or ArtStation, Twitter.
I'll just your
Yeah.
name, just all of those places you just go by.
Yeah, yeah, George Zaky, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming
Thanks,
on.
thanks.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun chatting with you.
Thanks, man.
I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for this opportunity. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
I'm not very well known for interviews and podcasts.
That's good. It's good. It's good to step out of your comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah.
It was great to chat with you. You're not just a great artist, but it seems like you're a great person too. So I
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
And hopefully we'll have you again soon.
Hopefully you.
Alrighty.